This morning. I think he's essentially covered this entire topic very well. So we will be able to go through this much faster because I think we'll just skip through quite a few slides that have already been covered. So let's begin. So next slide. So here's what we plan to cover. A little bit about EMS, pathogen, the management, and mainly we want to get down to the results here in Malaysia with the trial. So we'll share some of those results at Blue Archipelago where IAQUA and Blue Archipelago are working together. And then we'll talk about EHP, and I'm afraid there it's a little bit more theoretical because EHP just hit the farms in Malaysia in a significant way this year. So we don't really have much in the way of actual production results yet from the things we're trying. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about developing the biosecurity plan and the steps involved and what that process involves. Okay, next slide. Mr. Bakar.
Thank you, George. We've seen this data many times already this morning, and this is the set of data that we think from our own surveys. Untuk pengetahuan semua kita dah lihat data ni beberapa kali pada pagi tadi. Memang beberapa menunjukkan data yang sama, iaitu apabila EMS melanda negara kita tahun 2010-2011 daripada setinggi 90,000 tan, dan sekarang mungkin 2015 anggaran kami ialah mungkin hanya 30,000 tan. Jadi penurunan yang disebabkan oleh EMS adalah ketara keadaannya. Jadi saya memang kalau saya tengokkan ladang kami di Blok Archipelago, di Situ dan di Kerpan, memang Kerpan telah dilanda dengan penyakit EMS, dan terpaksalah kami bertukus lumus untuk bekerja untuk mencari penyelesaian. Itu sebabnya kita ada satu kerjasama di antara pihak IAQUA dengan Blue Archipelago, dan beberapa kajian dan beberapa inisiatif yang telah kita buat yang kita ingin berfungsi sama dengan semua dia punya kajian yang telah dijalankan. Jadi ini yang George akan berikan penerangan sekejap lagi ya.
Next. So I think we can skip through this pretty quickly because Robin's already gave us a great review about the EMS pathogen, and the key thing is that once it's established in an environment, it's very difficult to get rid of it. It grows very fast in the presence of nutrients. It attaches to detritus, and it, like most Vibrios, it doesn't survive prolonged freezing. Now that may not be 1,000% true, but in general, Vibrios are known not to be resistant to freezing. Next slide, please. I think we can skip over this, the growth signs. I think we're all familiar with those and what a sick shrimp looks like. Next slide. Robin's covered this as well, the vertical transmission. It's super important that we understand that the disease can be spread from the female to the egg, mainly from the fecal contamination. So when a female spawns, all of the contents of her intestine also end up in the spawning water. And so the EMS pathogen can be there and it can end up infecting the next generation. And the key culprit in this whole process is live worms. Everywhere in Asia, every hatchery wants to use live worms, almost 100% live worms, because it increases the nuclei production. But to get the live worms locally and they're infected, and that's the number one hazard if we want to go to a biosecurity plan. That's one of the critical control points, not to use live feeds in the hatchery. Next slide, please. So on the horizontal transmission, I think the key thing that's come out of some research in Mexico, and Robbins, I think, has done some of the research too, is that below a threshold density, there is no toxicity. And 10 to the 4th colony forming units per milliliter is considered the threshold density. And that's really, really important. That means we don't have to totally get rid of EMS, just keep the density below that threshold level where toxicity occurs. Next slide. So, in terms of pond management, I think we've already heard these things. Maintain the density below 10 to the 4th colony forming units, and we do that by minimizing the organic load. Of course, there are many ways to minimize the organic load: avoiding overfeeding, using probiotics to digest the organic matter in the pond. Some groups in Malaysia are having great results just with a very effective probiotic, from what I understand. And then the shrimp toilet idea, removing the sludge and putting it into a reservoir is an amazing innovation. Excellent. And then we heard about the polyculture with tilapia, and that's become popular, especially in Vietnam. And Dr. Loc Tran has introduced that with very strong success. But there are a lot of complications. The water has to be conditioned for quite a long period of time, 4 to 6 weeks holding period to condition the water. Okay, thank you. But anyway, and then Robbins pointed out that tilapia can be used to feed on the sludge from the shrimp toilets within a recirculating pond system. So it all sort of fits together. Next slide, please. Well, this is the part one of the few parts that maybe Robbins didn't cover, and so I'm glad to have one little morsel to share with you. So this is the actual production results in Mexico. As you'll recall, Mexico was also hit by EMS around 2011. And these different colored lines are the different states in Mexico where production occurs. And the number one producing state is Sonora in the northwest. It's this one. So we'll use this one. Oh, that's the total. This is Sonora, yeah. So the key factor to look at is that the industry hit a rock bottom in 2013, and they pretty much recovered to the same level as before EMS hit. They're almost back to normal. So Mexico has almost totally recovered. So how did they do that? So that's the way they did it was by using a genetically resistant broodstock. And that's one of the fascinating things that we wanted to try in a collaboration with Blue Archipelago. So that's one of the few things we can report on that maybe you haven't heard before. So would you like to talk about that?
seperti dah dipaparkan tadi, menunjukkan keadaannya di Mexico, di mana Mexico juga dilanda oleh EMS pada tahun 2011 dan pada tahun 2013 yang paling teruk sekali. Ya. Jadi bila saya dapat tahu tentang apa yang telah berlaku di Mexico, inilah mulanya kita bekerjasama dengan pihak